And this is us in the studio apartment. I am Kevin rapping this song about us starting.
I'm Josh Kerwin, and I'm not quite as musical.
He's not. But we went to the zoo. This is our radio show. We're just talking about theater stuff in Philadelphia. Back to rapping, because that's how you do it.
I love this song.
It's really good.
We've got to really work on this one.
It's recorded now, so we're good.
Okay.
We have a guest
Copyright
today with us. We are here with Michael Kelly.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, what is up, Michael Kelly?
You're a very funny man.
Yeah, tell us about some stuff
thanks.
that you're doing around the areas of the Philadelphia.
Well, I am a local stand-up comedian, and
Yes.
I host a monthly show at Tattooed Mom called Tattooed Momedy, and that is every last Tuesday of the month.
Yep. That's
Every
right.
last Tuesday.
Every final Tuesday.
Final one.
Now, I've been able to see Tattooed Momedy a couple times, and you guys, you've had so many funny people on the show. So you've had, I know, for example, I've seen Rachel Fogletto quite a few times, but she was over there at least once.
She was on the first one. She was on the inaugural.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, you got Robert X, who is somebody that I discovered from that show, and then the last episode you had the Incredible Shrinking Matt and Jackie.
I sure
right?
did. Yeah. The format of the show is all stand-up comedy, and then I have one wild card act, which can be almost anything. Like I had the amazing Bretzo, who was a burlesquer.
Yes.
He was on the first show.
Mm-hmm.
I had Luna LeVay, who is a drag performer.
Nice.
And she did a whole other character, which was totally incredible. And
Nice.
let's see. I had Mr. E, who is a sideshow performer. And
Very cool.
yeah, it was really awesome.
Very
He came out and
cool.
did some crazy stuff. It was really neat to just watch the reaction of the audience to a sideshow act. Because
When you say a sideshow act, what did he do? I can only think of sideshow barking.
right,
I'm step right up here. It's not really an act.
no, he did. The first thing he did was he got possum traps, and put his hands in them, and he had them set up everywhere. So he was having possum traps go off on his hands. Then
On
he
his
took
hands?
on his hands.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, it sure would be. I imagine.
He's professional.
Well, he does a lot of the very intense stuff, to say the least. I've seen him put needles through his cheeks, and I've seen him at the show. He actually took a tube and put it up his nose, and then brought it out, and then had someone drink a drink through this
His
tube,
nose?
through his nose out of his mouth. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's kind of like a
gross.
It's definitely something that people weren't expecting from
That's
the show,
incredible.
from a comedy show.
And this is what time?
It's from 8 to 11.
8
Doors
to
at 8,
11.
8:30 show.
Last
That's perfect.
Tuesdays of the month at Tattooed Moms. And you had how many episodes so far? How many have you done?
We started in September of 2016,
Mm-hmm.
so it's been every month since then. So that is, I think we're on our 6th show, if I'm counting correctly.
Fantastic.
And what made you want to start doing it? And that event? Were you doing other events like it and stuff?
Well, I performed in a lot of. I've always wanted to have my own show.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
I performed in a lot of stand-up showcases, and in the last few years we had a shrinkage of stand-up comedy showcases.
I mean, the water's really cold.
The water's really
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, there's the shrinkage. All kinds of
Oh,
shrinkage.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's getting cold this time of year. Yeah,
Sorry,
totally.
But it's absolutely It's been cold, so we but we have a lot of great. There's a lot of great stuff going on in the Philly comedy community. Like the Good Comedy Theater
Absolutely.
opened in October, and I'm sorry, in September, and it's been just bringing all these amazing, incredible show formats, and
Just to interact and helium.
yeah, definitely. But there wasn't a lot of stuff in between a lot of that stuff.
Right,
It's kind
for
of like
up-and-comers.
helium.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Even with Punchline opening, we
Right.
still kind of needed some more. So it's myself. Rachel runs she runs 2 monthly shows.
Over at
showcases. She does one at the Republican that was just last night.
Right, I did just hear about that. Yeah,
Comedy
Rachel's-
for Gentlemen.
Yes, yeah.
And then there is her monthly. It's the last Monday, I believe, at Ray's Happy Birthday Bar, and it's called Broad Humor.
Oh yeah,
And it's
I
all
like Ray's.
female and female identifying stand-up
Very
comedians.
cool. Now I remember. I know she did a show at one point. I don't know if you ever got involved in this. There was what was it called? The one man show. And there was I think that I'm not sure if that was a good show as well, but that was one that I remember seeing Rachel there as well at one point. It was a night of like 5 women stand-up comedians, and then there was one dude who would do it, and they jokingly called it one-man show. You know?
Oh yeah, I've never been on that show, but I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I think that was a good show, but I'm not.
It might have been a good.
Don't quote me on that.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff lately, and it's been kind of weird, but I'm not sure. Everybody seems to be so interconnected, which is cool. That everybody's getting. It seems like there's a really good stand-up community.
Right.
It seems like everybody's like really like supportive of each other.
Absolutely.
Which is something you don't find in a lot of the art forms around here.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for the other art forms. But it's not like people aren't really competing against each other. Like people are very supportive in the comedy community of Philadelphia, for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everyone's, because we all are friends, on top of being...
You see each other everywhere.
We see each other all the time. We see each other... It's like co-workers, friends, and it's almost like a family. Like, we all call each other, like, comedy fam.
Sure.
Because we all see each other all the time. We see each other more than we see, like, our friends and roommates and things like that. Yeah. It's like co-workers, in a way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and everyone's in each other's things, and, it's important to nurture because people want to see new... funny people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They really do.
And is that how you find people for Tattooed Momedy? It's just from, or is there like auditions? Is there?
I don't have auditions.
Do you go out and scout and ask people to do things?
Yes. I definitely, especially when it comes to the wild card acts, because I don't I'm trying to keep that different every single time too. And and I go out and see a lot of shows, throughout the city and try and find people to be on the show who are interested in being on the show. As far as the comedians go, it's a lot of people that I've worked with before or have seen. Most of them are all Philly comics. In the last 2 shows, I've had people come from out of town, and they're usually based on a recommendation. Sometimes I'll get a video from somebody if I've never seen them or know who they are, because people do ask to do the show.
Right.
And but I don't have like a
it's not like
audition process.
Yeah, it's not like an American Idol kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a free show. Upstairs at
But
Tattooed
you're still
Momedy.
just trying to find people and trying to find new stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and showcase the talent that we have here. Because a lot of people that come to Tattooed Moms for the show don't know anything about the comedy scene, and it's great to be able to open people up to that.
Absolutely. It's just a cool place to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember myself being, somebody who, the only 2 people that I had ever seen before, I think, in Philadelphia, period. I knew you, and I had met Rachel before. Yes, because of Anthony, who's been on the show as well.
Sure.
Yes, and I remember going over there, and I saw all these great comedians. I mean, and it was pretty fantastic. And then that got me more interested in going and seeing things over at Fit and Good and places like that. And I was very pleasantly surprised.
There's so much great content. There really is. There really is. Like I feel like I've been on, like I'm always doing a different show, and it's always really cool. Like the other week I was on a show called Pass the Mic. And that was at Fit, and that was a kind of a storytelling improv show where I believe it was like 7 or 8 of us sat in chairs, and the audience gave us a suggestion, and we all had to tell a story based on that. And you came up and you tapped the person out. Like someone would go up and start talking, and then the minute something occurred to you, or you found a story that related to what they were saying, or you just wanted to stick with the original topic, you went up and you tapped them, and that goes on for 45 minutes. And at first you're like, this seems like a really different sort of format, and you're like, how's this going to keep moving? But it's amazing how the energy keeps going and how fun it was, and it's almost like you didn't want it to end.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that like with a lot of those kinds of situations that you do when you're performing and stuff like that, it starts off a little bit rickety, but then by the time you get like 7 or 8 minutes in, it's like, oh man, I'm really starting to everything really gets rolling.
You start cooking, and it becomes an improv like storytelling thing. It's such an awesome device, and really interesting to get to watch it, because you don't really usually get to watch those types of games. And so that was at Philly Improv Theater.
That was at Fit.
Interactive.
And it's they're doing great stuff over there, and it's cool because you get to meet all kinds of new people, and
absolutely,
and there's so many people in the comedy scene that I feel like I meet a different person every show I do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Fit was the first time that I ever saw incredible Shrinking Matt and Jackie as well. Those guys, they kind of delve a little bit more into sketch comedy rather than
they're a sketch duo, and they're also part of a larger sketch troupe called The Flat Earth.
Okay, very cool.
Sure.
Very cool.
Which is also a funny group of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, my favorite bit, I would have to say my favorite bit that you've done before would have to be the one where, and I think it was like the first time that I saw you, it was like your opening bit that you had, which was when you were saying that somebody told that you look like gentrification.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was such a good bit.
Where I look like a gentrifier?
Yeah, gentrifier. That was such a good bit. Dude.
Yeah, that was a true thing that happened at an open mic.
Really?
Yeah, I was a couple of friends. This was almost a year ago this month,
Really?
and a few friends of mine and I went to Brewery Town,
Right.
and like near kind of where Brewery Town, I believe, like Strawberry Mansion connect, and there was an old abandoned brewery there. And a lot of urban explore, because I like to do some urban exploring from time to time.
Absolutely.
It's like, is it haunted?
It's not that it's haunted. It's just there's a lot of great like
abandoned,
graffiti
it's
tags.
that
Like I used to be,
sounds awesome.
not that I used to be. I still enjoy seeing really cool graffiti.
Oh,
That
yeah.
sounds-
And tags and slaps
sounds
and
super
stuff.
cool.
So we'd go and check it out. It's just neat to go see something like that.
Yeah.
So we went to go and just explore this abandoned brewery, and I forget what it's called. I want to say Bluebell, but that doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Whatever it's called. I think they're actually turning it into a regular brewery. I don't think you can get in anymore. But you can just walk in the front door. It was that simple. Like, we went and to go and check the stuff out.
Yeah.
And I went to an open mic the next day. And someone asked me what I did over the weekend. I was just like, oh, well, we happen to be up in like the Brewery Town / Strawberry Mansion area. And another comedian heard me saying that, and he spun around and said, oh, what, are you gentrifying that now, too?
Yeah.
So he literally said that to me. Like, it's not even just the punchline. Like, it's just like, what? Like,
Jeez. And
it's
you're
like,
not.
wow,
You're
thanks.
not
I'm like, I'm not that together. Like, I'm not making anything better. I'm like, I live in bad neighborhoods because I have to.
You're not walking around with frozen yogurt shops. And
Right? Yeah, I was gonna open up a franchise up in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
So we were scouting the location.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
All right, we're going to take a break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we're going to come back with Michael Kelly.
Yes.
We went to the zoo from G-Town Radio.
The sound of Germantown.
And we're back.
That was a good song too.
With the show.
Okay. It's not over. Okay. Oh no, very good.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Josh.
We're here with
Michael Kelly.
Hey.
So, what made you want to start doing stand-up?
I've always loved stand-up.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, I loved watching stand-up.
What's that final step?
Well, I mean, there's a
doing
large
it?
gap
Yeah.
in time in between. Well, I used to write comedy for other people.
Yeah.
I went to school initially for television film production.
Oh, fantastic.
And specifically to write screenplays. Like, I wanted to write for SNL. And I've always written comedy,
yeah.
but I never was in anything. I never really kind of had the bug to perform.
Okay.
So I worked with different comedy troupes. I lived in New York City for a while and wrote with different people. And then when I hit my 30s, I was kind of like, I wanted to do more, and I just got kind of bored writing for jokes for other people, and I was like, maybe I should do something else. And I moved back to Philadelphia, and then I met my good friend Alejandro Morales, who is a great comedian in the city.
He's very funny.
Yeah, he's awesome. You should check him out, people. He has Laughs on Philly, which is a great weekly open mic, as well as a showcase at Milk Boy South.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Very cool.
He also has an amazing show on Good Comedy called Eat Your Beats.
Oh, I
is the-
love Eat Your Beats.
Yeah,
That's
such
so
a great
funny.
show. I've been on that
Yeah.
show twice, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Which is a comedy rap battle that has to do with food. It's all
Yes.
food specific, so everyone makes up food names. And,
Bell Pepper, I remember. Was the
Joe
most...
Bell Pepper. It's a great one. Robert X Benedict.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of great. Yeah, I was Smooth E.
Smooth E.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it has a thing to it. It's a nice ring
That's
to it.
nice.
So I met Alejandro Morales by going to one of his shows when he had a show in the neighborhood at Taboo called Camp Taboo.
Oh, nice.
And I went up to him and I was just like, I want to start doing stand-up, but I don't know how to do that here. Or I really didn't know anything about stand-up. I just knew sketch comedy, and
Right.
and again, I never knew where to start with performing. And I didn't like. He suggested some open mics, and then we actually ended up becoming roommates after a while. And then
nice.
he helped me in, and we worked together a bunch, and and yeah, that's my origin story. I guess.
I find Philly to be like a great place for people to start, like, you know, making something for themselves rather than like you can find work at a lot of other towns and what have you, but when you really want to like start something yourself, I feel like Philly's a really good place.
I 100% agree, and I think a lot of the communities are more supportive here. When I lived in New York, I felt like everyone was really competitive, but that's understandable. You don't go to New York just to go.
To be cool and chill and stuff.
Right. But it's not a chill place.
No,
it's not a chill. That place knows no
place.
chill. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people go there.
They don't sleep. People, they don't sleep.
They
I love sleeping.
They sure don't sleep. No, I mean, I loved New York. It was a great place. It was a wonderful 6 years. It changed my life. It changed my career. It was a really great place. I met a lot of cool people. When I was done. You know, I even now, like sometimes I think about going back. I'm like, maybe I should go back to New York. And then I sit and I look around my house and I think, you know, there's never a point where I'm like, man, I wish this place was smaller and I paid more for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
You have one flashback and you're like, oh, okay, I remember I like this place. Yeah. That's great.
Well, especially at this age. I mean, I'm 37, so it's like I think when I went up and I did that in my 20s, and when I think when you're in your 20s, you're more like, yes, I'll live with 19 people in this tiny space. And, you know, and then I think the older you get, you're kind of like, I would like to not. I want to have good towels. You know, there comes a point in your life where I'm just like, you know, I just would like to have some nice towels.
So what kind of sketch stuff did you do in New York?
I wrote with a couple different troupes, and there was a lot of. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like we did we started doing some stuff with YouTube.
Yeah,
very cool.
And because it was at that point, it was like the early mid 2000s, so it wasn't really. It was starting to be a thing, but it wasn't by any means what it is now.
It wasn't flooded.
It wasn't something like Derek Comedy and like Lonely Island were started.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
You know, like that's how they get started. Was doing stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, and it was such a new platform at the time that people weren't. You know, people weren't as. Like there aren't YouTubes. I mean, there are YouTube stars now, but there wasn't then. There weren't like people who was like, "Oh, this is the
it's
YouTube
usually
famous."
cats now. I find.
It's always been cats.
Cats are hard. Number one is that cheeseburger. I remember being like a meme before I knew the word meme was. It was just why are people obsessed with the cat? People love cats.
Oh, I mean, well, they're great.
They're definitely cats.
Especially on the internet.
Sure.
Cats are definitely cats.
100% they're cats.
Like Maru, you know Maru?
No.
The cat that goes, the cat that loves boxes, this Japanese cat. Oh, you should look it up. It's like this black and white cat.
I feel like I could look it up.
You probably have seen it. It's like the cat that you put any kind of box in front of it, it's going to go into it.
It's going right in.
Yeah, it goes right in. Any size.
If I fits, I sits.
Even if it's a tiny one, it fits. Yeah, no, actually, it's funny that I watched it if it fits, I sits video earlier today before I came here.
Yeah. I was just talking to my roommate about. I remember at one point, and you probably do as well, about having videos that we didn't have anywhere to put them.
Yeah.
It's like oh, I want to share this with people, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There was no. I mean, in college too. It's like and I think about like my video film degree and you know what we worked with, where it was just like tapes that you couldn't even show your friends. Like you had to like do all these multi-generational. You know, you would make these like things and make these projects, but you'd be shooting them on like these tapes that you could
these like tiny mini DVs or like mini 8s even.
Yeah, and like high 8 cameras, and then you're like, okay, well I can transfer it onto VHS, and then you just have this like garbagey sort of like, multiple generation
copy of it.
But what's funny is how people try to make their videos look like that. Like I've seen filters where they're like, you know, and it's like wow,
those like 90s, you know, like throwback bands and whatnot.
Yeah, everyone's all about those 90s.
Well, how gorgeous some cameras are, and how like they can make it look. It's like
it looks like film.
It's crazy. It's like you want to take it back like 3 generations. Like, no, I want this to look bad again.
I need this to look worse.
I need this to look terrible for this aesthetic I'm working on.
So you started doing stand-up in Philly. When was your first set in Philly?
My first set was at an open mic in Fairmount, which was called Laughs on Fairmount, and that was at the Urban Saloon, which was right across the street from the penitentiary.
Yeah, the penitentiary. Yeah, I know that place.
And that's actually, well, funny enough, that's the room that Alejandro helped run. It still exists. It's just not at that. It's not on Fairmount anymore. It's called Laughs on Philly.
Right.
And they have their monthly or weekly open mic at Ortlieb's now. So they moved after the place switched management. They didn't want to have comedy there anymore because
Hey,
Because who knows? You know?
Because who needs laughs?
Because who needs a laugh? Not in this bar.
Nope.
Not at the Urban Saloon. This is a laughter-free zone.
0 laughs to be had here.
This will and always be a place for people with after-work sports groups to come and drink.
Drinking sadness.
Yeah. But they are not going to see stand-up comedy.
We only want cheering.
No.
Even they used to host Bye Bye Liver. Do you guys know Bye Bye Liver, the drinking play?
Yeah, Bye Bye Liver.
They used to host Bye Bye.
Yeah,
that was a great. I opened for them a couple of times. They're great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. I did when they did the Fringe this and last year, or 2016, 2015.
Yeah.
I opened for them the entire run in 2015.
Oh, wow.
And then I just did one show when they did 2016 when they moved location because they ousted them as well.
Sure.
Because they kept them for a while, which was great. I was
Even
like, okay, maybe
after-
they just don't want stand up because not everyone wants to see stand up.
No.
Yeah. It's a bit of a strange
Believe it or not. Well, sometimes people. And we've all performed in those rooms too, because there's sometimes going to be those shows. Because I almost never say no to a gig. I think I've said no to one gig in the last 3 years, and it was because I just physically couldn't get there because it snowed.
Right.
And it was a house party show, so I was already like, I'm not going to go. And I was only doing like 5 minutes. I was like a secret performer. I'm like, no one's going to be like amazed that I show up. Oh my god! I'm like, I don't know where you think my star is, but it's certainly
Guys,
not.
we have a secret performer.
We have a secret special performer, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" And to do 5 minutes,
It's a
and I was
secret.
like, it was in Port Richmond, and I live in South Philly, so I wasn't going to go across town in the snow to go perform 5 minutes.
Maybe.
I'm like, well,
You ever think they wanted you to wear a mask? So
Right,
they're
to
like,
hide
it's a secret.
the
It's a
identity
secret
of who
was a
you are.
secret.
yeah, very
mystery.
non-conspicuous. Oh,
Performer.
Oh,
If
man.
only. No. So that's the only time I ever said no to a gig. But I've definitely done those gigs where you're in a bar, like you just walk into the room and there's stand up happening, like in the at the bar. There's no, it's not nice. It's kind of there's just people in that bar who want to watch the game, or people in the bar who want to hang out and talk.
I played music at those gigs.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like
know.
music's a little easier because at least music can be background and ambient in a way. Like you can't just talk and like enjoy stand-up comedy passively.
Right.
And then plus it sucks when you're performing
Talking to
because
0
you can't.
people.
Yeah, it's like you're fighting for attention. You're trying to fight over all the noise, and if people aren't prepared to see stand-up comedy, they're like,
Oh yeah, no, I hear you. No.
I've done Shakespeare where there was more cast than there were audience, and that's tough. That's tough as well. So I understand what you mean.
When I started doing stand-up comedy, I was in this comedy competition, and it was a weekly thing, and it was just a train wreck.
Yeah.
And it was like we performed for anywhere from 2 to 5 people. Like seriously, when 5 people were in the room, I'm like, oh man, we got a show, a real show tonight. I can't even.
Let's bring up the energy. It's time.
Yeah. Wow. No, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like you perform sometimes to nobody.
I mean, that's what you need.
But you can have fun with those shows.
Well,
I've done
yeah.
a show I've been on a show and we did it for 2 people and had so much fun.
Oh yeah, I can only I mean, that opens up so many options. I mean, like I can only imagine like the amount of like punchlines that you can just kind of throw in. You could like the stuff that you can ad lib in there and just kind of make it. You can have fun with the fact that there's.
When you kind of have nothing to lose, you know, you're kind of like
that too.
Well, let's just. I mean, it kind of takes a lot of that pressure off, I guess. Yeah. I mean, but you just have fun with it, and then even those 2 people still came to see a show, so you owe them a show. Like I think you should ever just. Not do what you're going to do.
What are you going to
should do a show for 2 people. Yeah, exactly.
Are you trying to say the show must go on?
The show must go on.
No, but to be fair, as far as they said, like the last show that the Sex Pistols did, there were only like maybe like 20 people there, and you're thinking the Sex Pistols, it's like and there's only 20 people that show up. But
you mean like recently?
yeah, recently, yeah, definitely.
Like I mean, I was just saying, like Sex Pistols now, or like in the before Sid Vicious died.
They did do a reunion thing, didn't they?
They did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's weird. But the last original lineup, Sex Pistols show, had only like 20 people at it, but those people were the singer to Joy Division, Billy Idol, and like
the coolest
a couple,
room
and like a couple of other people that were like like super important to like 80s punk rock and stuff like that.
You never know who's going to come out for a show.
Yeah.
Maria Bamford comes and pops her head into Good Comedy a lot because her husband is actually from the suburbs.
Oh, really?
So they've been in and out a lot. Like, yeah, she's even done, like, she's come to an open mic. Like, there used to be an open mic at Medusa Lounge called We Do.
Okay.
And, which is no more, which is unfortunate.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I think Medusa, the Fire Trap, at this point, I think is going to be closing soon.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's what happens. I mean, you have mics for so long. It had a good
They go
run.
up, they go out,
years.
Yeah.
And Maria Bamford, happened to she was doing a secret show later. That's a person you have for a secret show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's someone you
Not me.
Oh my god.
You know?
Well, hey, to be fair, I've seen you, and you're quite funny as well. But
I
I do
appreciate
love myself. I do love me some Bamford.
She's great.
She's very funny.
Did you guys watch the Netflix to watch her show?
Oh yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Lady Dynamite.
I've seen a couple episodes of that so far. I loved. I don't know if that was a Netflix special or if it was a Comedy Central special, but the one that she did in front of her parents.
Oh yeah, I think it was just on YouTube. I think it was on a YouTube channel. She
Yeah.
just did a show for her parents.
She was so good in Arrested Development.
Oh, she was great.
One of the best parts of the
She was super great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be on because they're filming again.
Yeah, they're bringing it back.
Oh, is she gonna?
I
be
hear
on
they can
that?
actually get the people together more.
That's hard. Everyone's working.
It's so hard, which is such a bummer, which is why that season kind of drags.
I think I really hope she ends
It's
up
great.
at least as a season of as BoJack Horseman. I think she'd be
Yeah.
great.
Everyone should.
Yeah, that's true. Now I remember actually seeing her. She did a fantastic bit on Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job, as well, which was like this super weird thing about cat litter, and obviously she's a big pet person, so it was pretty funny. But yeah, now this might be a dumb question. I have no clue if there's any relation between her and Banford, who one of the girls who does a lot of things over at Good Comedy.
Kate Banford.
Kate
no,
Ban-
they're not related.
No, it's just so close that if they're working in the
so
same
close.
theater, it's funny.
So fun.
No.
But yeah, they do quite a bit of good stuff over there. Now, coming back to your show, I'd have to say that still the one that I usually gravitate towards is anything that goes over at Tattooed Moms, because I absolutely love that.
Well, they have a great. Well, it's funny how I got the show started in the first place. Is I was doing a show for Anthony. He had a variety show,
Right.
and he asked me to do it, and I was like, sure, because again, I don't say no to anything.
Right.
And gigs. I mean,
Yeah.
specific.
Not tagged in.
Not like everything. Yeah.
No. But I find an opportunity to do that at least once every show.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, that's
It's good. It's good. If you can make that noise, then yeah, exactly. Just make a nice.
You gotta sound like Chewbacca. You gotta do it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. 100%. So he asked everyone the show was at 9, I think, and he asked everyone to be there by 7, and I'm like, and there was a lot of costumed performers. I think there was a burlesque person. Right. There was some drag. And I'm like, look, I'm kind of I can go from the car to the stage. I don't require, exactly. I'll perform in what I'm wearing now. So I'm like, do I really need to come at 7 o'clock? What? You know what I mean? I'm I don't want to sit. What am I going to do for 2 hours?
Yeah. I mean,
waiting to go on. And I was in the middle of the show too, so it was just not that I'll come early because I want to watch the show that I'm on too.
Right.
But, so I got there. He's just I messaged him. I'm like, do I really need to come at 7? He's just like, would you mind? He's just like, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm coming from work. I'm like, I'll get there as close as I can. So I got there at 7:30, 7:45. So I'm like, all right, this is fair. This is still 40 minutes before door time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat down, and the guy bartending, his name's Adrian, and also Robert, the owner, happened to be both behind the bar.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, oh, is Anthony here? And they're like, oh, are you on the show? And they looked at me kind of confused because I wasn't in a costume or ringing. Yeah, I was. They're like, oh, what are you doing on the show? I'm like, oh, I do stand up. And they're like, do we have a stand-up show here? We should have a stand-up show. Would you be interested in doing a stand-up show? It was literally that. And I was like, absolutely. So I, well, they're like, do you want to do an open mic or do you want to do a show? I'm like, a show. I'm not running an open mic. I am not doing that. I mean, no,
the amount of Holocaust jokes that come up at an open mic night.
Oh man, well, it's not even
terrible.
that. It's just a lot of work.
It's so much.
It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of sometimes politics. I can get involved with things of people needing to go and list order and mixing up the list, and there's this whole thing.
Absolutely.
And you should have more than one person running an open mic because you need more than one person.
You need a crew.
It's hard to have one
really
person running a show, let alone an open mic situation. Not that I think there's anything wrong with opening mics.
No,
that sounds like I'm like, no, we need that. Open mics are important.
It's difficult to do, and
It's
you want to
just
do it
stressful.
correctly, and you want to do it without stress. Yeah, and
Exactly. And it's stressful even when you have, because most of the open mics are run by
so hard to do it.
4, anywhere from 3 to 4 people.
And it's also why they pop up and go away.
Right.
Well,
Well, a lot of them, a lot of them are that have been around are still around. The thing is, if they're doing it right, they'll bring on new people, and then other people who've been on it for a while, back off of it for a little while. Laughs on Philly, for instance.
Right.
They've been doing that open mic for years and years and years, but it was Laughs on Fairmount for a lot of years too. Yeah. And it started off with 2 comedians, Mary Rosinski and someone else, and
They pass it on.
And they pass it on. Yeah, they just keep passing the torch to other people, and they just
Yeah.
kind of keep the name, and then other people kind of run
There's
it.
always a Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah. And that's good because because we need open mics, because without open
Yeah.
mics we can't workshop, because that's how you work on your material.
Absolutely.
Like if you're anyone who's listening who wants to ever do stand up comedy, you need to go to open mics. Like you can't just write material and expect to one get booked on a show.
Open
and two,
for
it's gonna be
Gary or
funny.
something.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like,
Exactly.
Every time I write something, it's hilarious. Book me.
Right.
Boom.
Exactly. But it's important too, because you never know what's going to be funny until you tell it in
Yeah, you
front
gotta
of a
say it to
room
people,
full of
yeah.
comedians waiting to go on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. That's very
And when you're
true.
starting out, you should just try to be getting on stage anyway.
Exactly, because that's the best way to get booked on shows in general.
Get seen.
Is get seen, yeah. And support the room, because when you're there and you buy a beer or two, or you get food or something, and then it helps support the room.
Absolutely, yeah, as well. It's always just nice to get to know people that are in your scene as well.
Right. And it's also, I mean, that's where I do all my writing, because I used to like have writing days. Like I would sit down in the afternoon, go to like a coffee shop, and try and write jokes, and like I
Right.
still will do that from time to time. But I mostly am my most like creative, I guess, like when I'm actually at the mics and kind of around the people.
As in, it will definitely, rather than being like an introspective person who might be somebody who goes out and doesn't do that. I'm the same way. I feed off of a lot of like social energy a lot of times.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of people, like something like the hive mind, I guess, like where we're all creating
Totally.
at the same time.
Totally.
But also, it's like just a quiet space to write. No one looks at you funny when you're sitting in the bar writing in your notebook, because everyone else is there doing the same thing.
Very true.
I find that way in writing. It's just like going back and forth from listening to someone, and be like, oh, I mean, it's easier. It just gets you into like
and then like you can work on it right then. Like you can go up and then do your new thing that you wrote.
Yeah, nice. It's nice to be able to like boom, boom, go
Exactly.
place to place.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I wrote a pitch. I gave them the pitch to the show. They were into it, and the rest is history. As they
Boom, history.
Talking stand up with
before
Michael
it's
Kelly.
burned. Yeah,
We
we're gonna take a break.
We're back.
Oh man, that was better than everything I always do.
Oh,
God.
man. Well, I sounded like a monster truck
But
guy.
it's such a it was such a we pressed a button, and that's the noise that would come out.
Oh yeah, it didn't sound
so. Anyway,
It was like that.
Do some morning radio.
It's almost as good as beer.
It's
Which
almost
is my favorite.
that's what it does.
Bars.
Pew, pew, pew.
Who doesn't love that sound?
I mean, it's pretty much God's gift to mankind.
Yeah.
That sounds.
I love hearing it go
Keep
down
an
the
air horn
block.
on me at all times.
Yeah, just for it. All right, so we're gonna play some games with Michael, which is gonna be fun because he doesn't know anything about theater.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, what's
Finally,
great about
someone on my level.
yeah, but what's great about them is that they're guessing games anyway. So it doesn't matter if you knew everything about theater, you're not going to be able to get these games.
The only way I could know
anyway.
less about theater would be if I never heard of it before.
Yeah,
What is theater?
What is-
Ooh,
that's where you watch the movies, correct?
Theatre?
Theatre.
Theatre?
That's how the cool kids spell it.
Yeah, exactly.
But so for the first game, it's a little game called "How Long Did This Run?"
okay.
So we're gonna tell you a play,
Mhm.
and we're gonna tell you're gonna guess how many performances it ran on the Broadway.
Oh, on
In-
Broadway?
in New
The
York.
Broadway.
In New
the
York.
Broadway.
This is
Yeah,
New York's
on
Broadway.
New York's
It
Broadway.
is not,
Not
Tampa.
Nashville's?
It's not
Yeah,
Tampa's. It's
Nashville's.
not Nashville's.
How many
Pacoima.
Broadways are there? We gotta look this
I mean,
up.
it's a very, very common name for a street.
Like
honestly.
like a way that is broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of people name their streets.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I grew up on Clear Field
Clearfield.
because it once was a clear
Clearfield.
field.
I was on
Yeah.
I was on a spring field. I was there you go.
Maybe there was a spring at the end of it, and they got rid of it
Oh.
for sewage.
Yeah, most likely it was definitely sewage.
Or it's a place where they made springs.
Oh my
That's true.
God.
For beds.
They make
or
the weather.
chairs, or-
This
Sure.
is where all the conspiracies have been coming from, where people
Yeah,
are controlling the weather. That's where it's coming from. So,
Absolutely.
that's exactly where it was.
All right, so we're gonna shoot some plays at you.
All right.
Okay, so
We're not even doing musicals.
and is this?
These are all
This is
straight
Arthur.
plays.
This is an Arthur Miller.
They're all Arthur
theme
Miller.
here.
okay.
Good old Artie.
So the first one is Death of a Salesman.
Mm-hmm.
How many shows? This is including like matinees
Yeah.
and
all performances.
yes.
Was this? I didn't even know this was a play. I didn't know they did like a performance of it. I thought.
Oh
it was
yeah, this was originally a play. Oh yeah. Now, you know.
So from its original, so this is starting from when it was its initial.
When it's first, its first run, its first initial run on.
To the present.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Now they did.
Close.
They recently did one with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, no,
and
they do a
but
bunch of like startups again, but this is
Okay.
one continuous. Like Cats ran continuously one production for 20 years.
Wow.
Whereas most straight plays only go for like a year and a half, 2 years.
So this.
I mean, people love
they
Cats.
just love the shit.
People love T.S. Eliot. That's like the thing.
They really do. Except what was it that one play where the first thing was a quote from T.S. Eliot that was the thing about life is so
Apocalypse
long.
Now.
No, it was August Osage County, I think. But that's not Arthur Miller. So we're not.
Yeah, we're talking about Arthur Miller here.
Okay.
So how? Just take a guess. Just like a number, like 1 to a billion.
Years or just actual numbers of shows?
Actual shows.
Including matinees.
We're shooting in for 100, give or take. Over or under.
Over. I want to say over 100.
Well, no. You're trying to guess between over.
Oh,
and under.
Yeah.
Wait.
You're trying to get within a range.
I want to say.
So give us a lot.
I'm just gonna 250.
250.
Which is very close. This one it was strange that it was actually 742 performances.
742.
Oh,
so
close at all.
No. But that's a valid choice.
So
a lot of
straight. Two full years.
Okay, all right.
That was like
It's a lot.
That's like that was like
for
his real moneymaker,
and not like a musical.
Okay,
it ran
really
for
impressive.
a long time.
So the next one would be The Crucible.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm familiar. I was in 8th grade.
Another great.
Everybody was in 8th grade.
You have to read it. It's so good. I don't care. Arthur Miller's the best. You know why you should love Arthur Miller if you're a writer? He wrote so well. Marilyn Monroe slept with him. I mean, that's game.
It's got to be some game.
That's game. It's just the writing.
But she also she married what's his name? Streetcar Named Desire.
No, she did not marry Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee Williams? No, that was or no. She married
Arthur Miller
and
Joe DiMaggio.
Sam Shepard. Sam Shepard, I think was.
Definitely married Joe DiMaggio and Arthur Miller. And Arthur Miller distinctly because of how good of a writer he was.
Wow, good for him.
I mean, that's goals.
I mean, hey.
Squad goals.
Writers. To be or not to be, I guess. But so the Crucible. How many shows do you think this would have run?
I'm gonna say. I mean, given how popular it was, I'm gonna say 900.
Now, see, this one is the exact
Like 5.
opposite. This one only went for 197 shows.
Oh wow.
But
they didn't even let the first show finish. They're like, forget it.
But I think you don't hear about Death of a Salesman in like 8th grade, whereas you do in The Crucible because.
Crucible has so much to do with history.
Well, it was about McCarthyism and all.
Well, it's about Salem witch trials, and all of the characters are based on actual people that happened during Salem.
Right.
But it also ties into McCarthyism because that's the big parable.
But and the whole witch trials was a large anti-feminism.
Oh yeah,
that's
movement,
true.
And I think that also can sometimes put
more things you can just teach about.
Yeah,
right. Whereas Death of a Salesman is just like, man, capitalism sucks.
Capitalism, sadness, and suicide. That's what you kids have to look forward to. I mean, that's why they don't teach it.
Right.
And then the last one here is All My Sons.
The lesser known.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with My Three Sons, which is I think was a little bit more uplifting.
Until they got rid of the one son, they brought in the neighbor kid or the cousin or something.
Yeah,
it was really weird. The dad was gone, and it was a strange but 2 of the kids were still there. Watched a lot of Nick at Night as a child.
Oh yeah.
That's how I watched Taxi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dragnet. Watched a lot of Dragnet as a kid.
Dragnet, yeah. Mm-hmm. Great show.
I didn't realize that Taxi was on Nick at Night.
Oh yeah, Taxi. That's how I watched Taxi.
Taxi was great.
Yeah.
I was always so into Andy Kaufman, but I had never gotten a chance to watch a lot of episodes.
I think it's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's a great show.
Oh,
it's really funny.
Christopher Lloyd is amazing.
So good.
Yeah, I've seen 1 or 2 episodes of it. I haven't really gotten into it as much as I should have.
Oh, what's his name? The Jewish guy. Why can't I think of his name? The dad from Independence Day is.
Oh,
he's like the everyman of the show.
He's the star.
Yeah, he's like the
main
everyman
character.
guy. I can't remember.
I was trying to think of it too.
Now.
I'm not.
That's gonna bug me. So sorry.
Oh, him. Yes, he is so funny. That's gonna kill me.
He's the dad in Independence Day. He's so great.
Oh yeah, he is really great. Sorry, dude. Who's the dad in Independence Day? We can't get you.
Love you, guy. So okay, guess how many performances? All My Sons.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna say 300.
Boom, 328.
Whoa.
All My Sons. It's about building airplanes.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. Is that when they wrote Death of a Salesman, it was based on him, meeting up with his uncle, who he met, who he like hadn't seen for like 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And he saw him at the premiere of All My Sons, and he was talking about how his son was doing so well when his son really wasn't doing very well at all.
Interesting.
So Arthur Miller's cousin was like, the alpha male when they were kids, but he just grew up to be
And he's Bernard, and he has an uncle character he's never seen in a while. And there's an uncle. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Death of a Salesman, so good. Arthur Miller's the best. Josh and I were in it.
We did it once. We did it once. It was a fun show. Arthur Miller's very cool. So we're going to our next game, which is always my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Because we have such a love-hate relationship with musicals.
Yeah.
I sometimes love them. He usually hates them.
I hate all of them.
I'm not a huge fan of musicals.
Well, you were in New York.
I was.
So you probably have noticed that a lot of musicals...
They will make anything a musical.
Yeah, and they have stupid names.
They usually...
Oh, yeah.
Like
or
they're based off...
Well, I feel like anywhere they just base them off of anything. Like there was... A Young Frankenstein
there's
musical.
so many.
Oh yeah,
so many movies,
which was surprising to me. Yeah.
Well, Mel Brooks wanted to do it.
Heathers was a musical.
Heathers,
just did that.
Yeah.
All right, so this game is called.
Make Hostel the musical next.
Hostel the musical. That's an incredible idea.
Don't say it out loud.
It's gonna happen.
It's Jim more science. Well, that's gold.
They'll make 3 of them anyway. So this game is called Find the Fakesicle. So we have 4 musicals that are in fact real musicals. Mm-hmm. We kid you not. But one of them is, we are kidding you, because that's one that Kevin thought of in his dome piece. So we have four of these. I love these ones. These are good. But so we have
you have to find the fakesicle.
Yeah, so you just find the fake one, the one that Kevin thought of. So we have A, Song of Norway. We have B, One Touch of Venus. C, The Valley of Shine. And D, 1492 Up to Date.
What was the first one?
First one was Song of Norway.
Song of Norway.
And then we have One Touch of Venus, The Valley of Shine, and 1492 Up to Date.
1492 Up to Date.
1492.
Yeah, it's now though.
I wonder what that would be, the updated 1492.
Yeah. Oh man, I can only...
Just everyone on their phones.
It's up to date now.
Oh, they're like putting... They ship viruses over on everybody's phones.
Columbus uses his GPS and actually gets the place he's trying to find. It's really great. Native Americans know he's coming and they kill him immediately. Great.
Yeah, it's like...
Up to date.
Who's selling beads on the highway now? Well, I'm leaning towards that one since you know so much about it, but then at the same time I'm like, well, that would be almost giving it away, so I'm going to say it's not that one. I want to say the faked one... Song for Norway?
Song of
Norway, in fact, is a real musical.
Real Broadway musical.
It just sounded so like whatever.
Just
like, oh, this is just like
it was C, The Valley of Shine.
Oh, that was my next guess.
The Valley of Shine. What does so what is the actual musical that The Valley of Shine is?
It's about knights. And so the Valley of Shine is almost like a Camelot-like place. It's actually it's not. It's about knights and they're trying to find the Holy Grail in the Valley of Shine.
In the Valley of Shine,
but it's way more serious than Monty Python, and there's way more death.
Oh,
it's like
so it's like somewhere like
it's
like closer to the Indiana Jones.
It's Game of Thrones meets
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
It's a great show. It's fun.
It's pretty good.
Everyone's way into that.
There's a lot of rape in it, which makes me a little uncomfortable.
I heard there's a bunch of dog murder in it, and that's what makes me not. I can't watch that. I'd rather watch kill every person on the screen, but like don't kill the dog. I mean, I can't handle that.
It's the whimper that they continuously use in film. It has to be the same.
Well, it's also I don't know. I'm never a fan of like certain like real animals used for certain shoots. Like remember not Homeward Bound or whatever. It was like maybe it was Homeward Bound. It was with the two dogs and the cat.
Yeah.
The pug. Like how many pugs they went through because remember because they get killed. Like they had like a bear. You know the scene with the bear and the pug. Where they're like friends, where they get away. How many times the pug didn't get away from the bear?
That's terrible.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing I've ever.
Oh yeah, or like certain shots, like they were like just I mean that was a huge. There was a lot of controversy.
No, but you don't get it.
The room down.
You don't get it though.
Yeah,
Michael J. Fox needs work. Though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But there's also
Is he in Game of Thrones?
No, he was in Homeward Bound.
Oh, he was.
But there's this new movie called A Dog's Purpose.
Oh man, yeah, I can't even get through the trailer.
The trailer is so bad. It's about like a spirit of the dog.
But they keep getting reincarnated.
They get reincarnated to find their original owner.
But then
how do you choose your original?
It's like why see them? You just told me the whole movie.
And it's just also but they talk about there's so many things.
But they literally show the guy as a kid with the dog, and then the dog they put the dog down, and that's in the trailer. And then at the end, the guy's like, the dog finds the ball in the field they used to play with or something, and I'm like, well, that's the end of the movie.
Is it only the little kids that get like original dogs? Like, why wasn't this dog another dog was already reincarnated as a dog?
Yeah, exactly.
And who cares about this? Who cares about this kid? I want to go hang out with my drunk guy that hung out on the street sometimes. That's my original owner. I'm sorry. This is a tangent about the dog.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean,
they did terrible things to dogs.
Well, they did a terrible. Yeah, they had like a scene where like the dog was like by rushing water or something, and they were like on like a rescue boat, and the dog was supposed to be very terrified the whole time. It's like these animals don't understand.
No.
That we are, it's for cinema.
Yeah. Which brings up to me.
Hold on.
And no one's gonna give the dog an Oscar.
Hold on. You watch things that aren't really happening. Yeah. You just watch them. Why? Why do you do this?
How much do you think horses want to fight crime?
Right. Yeah.
I've always wanted to know that.
How much of what inside of the horse makes it want to?
It makes it want to
fight. That's the horse that wants to fight crime.
Well, I mean,
I don't know, the lucky pick. It's better than pulling a cart full of tourists, I guess.
He knows that he's just going to get some peanut butter at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like,
that's my deterrent for crime.
If he reads the fingerprints correctly, then he'll be able to get some peanut butter.
All right, so we have one last game.
We have one.
We can stop talking about animals.
This makes me so sad.
Yeah.
This makes me so sad. Well, yeah, but okay, so this last game is one that's usually a shot in the dark for myself.
Super.
As you really can't tell a lot of times, but there usually is two options in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
For characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. They usually either get married or they die.
Yeah.
Right.
That's Shakespeare.
That's what happens.
So we have a game called Wed or Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple characters from Shakespeare here, and you just basically have to decide whether they got married or they died.
Okay.
Yeah. So Fenton, a gentleman, wed or dead?
Can I ask which show it was?
He's just
What's next?
Oh right from Merry Wives of Windsor.
I didn't see that one. I believe it or not, I've seen a lot of Shakespeare.
Sure. Yeah.
I used to live in Mount Airy, and there's the Quintessence Theater
Absolutely.
out there, and I've been to a couple of their shows.
Yeah.
Fenton. He sounds like someone who dead.
He actually is wed.
Oh, yeah.
He is
wed. Old Fenton.
Good for Fenton. Yeah.
Good for him, honestly.
Good for Fenton. He deserved it. He deserves it.
I knew it because his name was so fancy.
It was.
But okay, so we've got Jack Cade, a rebel.
This is the coolest.
Can I ask what show that was?
This one is from Henry VI.
Part 2.
Dead.
Part 2. Oh yeah, he's definitely dead. He's definitely dead.
How awesome of a name is that for Shakespeare? Jack Cade.
Jack Cade. Yeah.
Jack Cade. Like that sounds like
doesn't even sound like a Shakespearean name.
Yeah.
It's like some long Italian nonsense.
That sounds like Don
Lundgren
Lundgren could play Jack Cade.
Jack Cade, it's Jack Cade.
Yeah, like he sounds like he's like on like the Brooklyn, police desk sergeant in Brooklyn.
Jack
we
Cage
just-
on the case, guys.
Oh yeah, he could be on the case as well.
He's
Yeah,
definitely
we
on
just
the
watched
case.
Goodfellas, so naturally I'm going to think that he's a
He's a
gangster.
bad guy.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got-
he could be.
I'm Jackie Gay. You
Jackie
know,
Gay.
hey.
Yeah. So we've got, and then we've got King Henry VI from Henry VI, Part 3.
Part 3. Wed?
No.
Now
He
gets
died?
got.
it seems, you know,
He gets got.
That's eight.
considering-
I'm thinking of Henry
Yeah.
VIII.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thing,
right.
yeah.
Now, see, here's the thing: is that you would think. I think in trilogies, usually like the guy who's the title by the third one,
gets got.
He would get got, but at the same time, you never know how many Henry VI there are going to be. Which I haven't seen. I think I've seen
Also,
parts of the first one, but that's it.
also, it's technically not even the end of the trilogy. It's because there's a sequel after it because he's killed by Richard III, who then goes into Richard III.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Now, see, that's
Murders, because they're all characters. It's all connected. Histories of Shakespeare.
he's like Tarantino.
I have
He's
never
like
seen. Yeah, that's
It's like
exactly
the Star
it.
Wars
Except
movies.
the universe.
He's like Disney. Just all these expanded stories
But
and
the
standalone.
The universe is English history, so
Well,
it's our universe.
I mean, or
Shakespeare-
spoiler alerts, guys. I mean, might be M. Night Shyamalan movies now as well.
man.
So that's another
it's
thing.
all connected to Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right.
I
I have to say, I did get a chance to see that movie. I saw a preview thing over at the theater on South Street over there, and it was
Of
kinda,
what, Split?
of Split.
You saw
yeah,
Split?
I saw Split.
Split.
And
Did you split?
And I have to say,
You stayed the whole time?
I
or
think
you split?
Shyamalan Ding Dong might be back.
Hey, it might.
He might be back. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that there's a couple key themes that seem super like, I don't know if he's like condoning rape culture or not or anything like that, which kind of makes it a little bit
Rape
weird.
apologist.
It's
Ugh.
it's definitely I would say that the Shyamalan twist at the end is kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but other than that,
I've heard there isn't a twist.
there
The twist is no
is.
twist, like
Yeah.
Chuck Palahniuk. Like if they didn't have a twist, like there'd be.
Well-
Like there's always a twist.
Sure.
I mean, like I would say that in that movie, it's so weird because like it's already, you don't know if it's based in like some kind of like made up idea that like superhuman, that like split personality disorder can actually be a
giving
super,
away the answer?
No. It's just no. The world that you're in is kind of confusing.
Okay.
Is basically what it is. Is that and so, but there's a lot of good things that are going on.
He lives in Bryn Mawr still. I know where his house is.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he lives on the main line.
Okay.
Oh.
That's where he's always grown up and lived.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And my friend Matt went out for pizza once at Philadelphia, and he had just seen The Happening. And he was talking to his friends about how terrible The Happening was. And he's like, oh, he's talking about... He's talking to plants, and the guy comes up, the waiter comes up to him, and he's like, are you talking about M. Night Shyamalan's movie? He's like, yeah, he's terrible. He's like, dude, he was in the booth next to you. So watch out, Philadelphia. Watch who you're talking about. He's
Oh
probably
my
listening
God.
to us right now.
Because
so
they're-
I love M. Night
God, I
Shyamalan.
hope so.
Love to be cast in his films. You can check out my IMDb page, M. Night. There's not much on it, but it could add more.
ding, ding, ding.
What I'm saying
No, but
is...
to be fair, no. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, I think he might be back, and that is always a good thing
Yeah.
about how much fantastic talent there is
Yeah.
in Philadelphia.
Hopefully he'll do more stuff in Philly, as he always does.
On that note of fantastic talent,
Yeah, Michael Kelly.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming
This
to
was
the
so
show,
much
man.
fun. This is so much fun.
Last Tuesdays in the month at Tattooed Moms from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
You get to go and see Michael
Yeah,
Kelly.
everyone's-
Tattooed Momedy.
Yeah, the next one's well, I got a couple things coming up. If I
Sure.
may, if I may
yeah.
plug.
yeah. No, plug away,
all
man.
you
Awesome.
want.
So on let's see, on February 16th at 8:30, I'm going to be doing a show at the Sardine Bar in South Philly,
Okay.
and that's on I believe 18th and Federal,
Nice.
and that's a mix of stand-up and improv. And then on the 24th, I'm on a show at Good Comedy called Let's Start a Cult.
Nice.
good. There's like
That's 10 p.m.
so
on,
much good money in it.
It's 10 p.m. at Good Comedy on February 24th, and then last and certainly not least is Tattooed Momedy, which is February 28th at 8 p.m. We have a lot of great stand-up again coming in for that show,
Yeah.
and as Comedy Dreams will also be the special guest
fantastic.
wild card act of that
Awesome.
show. So yeah, come check it out.
So, also, Michael, if there's you were talking about some of your sketches and things that you've done on YouTube. Do you have any links or anything?
Nothing's up anymore.
No.
A lot of the
Well,
guys
you know,
disbanded. So unfortunately, you
YouTube
can't
is
watch
getting
any stuff.
terrible these days. It doesn't have any good talent these days.
But you can like Tattooed Momedy's page on Facebook. It's
yes, check out
Facebook.com/Tattooed Momedy.
Yes, like it.
And you can find me on Twitter as well.
What's your twit? What's your handle?
It's like a mashup of my name, so it's like
Sure.
MIKALKEL at
You should try to solve that down.
Yeah, I know it's hard. My name is Michael Kelly. It's such everyone beats me.
I like it. I like that though. Michael Kelly. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that.
It's the best I could do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, hey, thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah. So we went to the zoo.
We didn't talk
about it.
We didn't talk about the zoo. We'll talk about it later. Totally.
Thanks so much.
Any Given Monday, by Philadelphia's own Bruce Graham, playing at the Stagecrafters Theater, is an exploration of morals and ethics, religion and philosophy, marriage and infidelity, all wrapped up in truly funny satirical dark comedy. The show opens on Lenny, all schlubbed out in sweatpants, half asleep on the couch, his go-to comfort movie, To Kill a Mockingbird, playing in the background. The mild-mannered teacher is licking the wounds left by his wife of 24 years, Risa, who walked out on him for Frank, a successful businessman. Such a nice guy is Lenny, he even carried Risa's suitcase out of the house for her. His quiet resignation is disturbed when frenetic SEPTA worker, Mickey, played to perfection by Lenny Grossman, comes in like a whirling dervish, demanding that Lenny, played by Joe Herman, get pissed off. Mickey is rough and ranting and as far from political correctness as possible. He's kinda sexist and kinda racist, and, as we learn, some of his actions are reprehensible, yet he somehow remains likable. Think Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. Regarding Frank, the man sleeping with Lenny's wife, Mickey says with disgust, "The prick's not even an organ donor. That's pretty low." He later apologizes to Lenny's daughter for saying the word prick. Despite his wonky moral compass, he truly believes he's got Lenny's best interest at heart. Lenny's estranged wife, Risa, is played beautifully, with realism and subtlety, in a play with little realism and subtlety, by Jen Allegra. She knows Lenny is a good guy, but let's face it, anything gets a little boring after 24 years, which is made even clearer with Joe Herman's hapless sitcom dad characterization. Rounding out the cast is Julie Roberts, who plays Lenny and Risa's perennially angry philosophy major daughter, Sarah. She serves as the play's narrator, speaking directly to the audience, and thinks she has all the answers, but she strictly lives in a place of existentialism and hasn't yet been forced to deal with the complexities of reality. Any Given Monday raises a lot of questions, but doesn't really answer any. Anyone can find a reason to be offended during the course of the play, but you'll probably also find yourself laughing. A lot of the dialogue takes on new meaning with our new political regime, especially Mickey's, who says, "Seal up the country's borders now, we're a country full of idiots, and we're the only country in the world with fat homeless people." Sarah's counter-response to Anne Frank that people are kind of rotten is perhaps more poignant now. Solid direction by Barbara D. Mills, great set design by Maria Napo, and pretty funny and spot-on sound design by Bill Bonspach contribute to a production worth seeing. The Deets, Any Given Monday by Bruce Graham, directed by Barbara D. Mills. Stagecrafters Theater, 8130 Germantown Avenue, Chestnut Hill. The show runs until February 19th. Contact them at 215-247-8881 or visit thestagecrafters.org.